Camille, how you doing? Yeah, this is great. Excellent. Good job describing your intent. This is great right here. So yeah, you're learning the value of using layers, which is just of paramount importance in both Illustrator and Photoshop, as we have learned. So this is great. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and jump over to, I see you've got your magazine ad and your banner ad up. Banner ad has the animation in the PSD file, so that's fine. I can just go ahead and play it right there and we can take a look at it. Um, Let me start with the magazine ad, I think. The magazine ad looks great, but there's a couple of issues I think that can really be improved. And I think once you take a look at it, you'll agree with me. So I think right now the headline and subhead is really large. I would definitely reduce the size of those. The left alignment looks great. That looks fantastic right there. But this space between your romantic rendezvous awaits. That's called leading, and that should be decreased. There should be less space between the two lines of the headline um, than there is between the space between the last line of the headline and the subhead. Okay, that's called proximity, and it's grouping. And basically, what we're doing is we're moving this closer to this to indicate that these two lines belong together. Okay, so and then only amethyst bait. That's great. So let's just group these together by reducing the leading between those lines. Okay, reduce the size, and then reduce the size of this, and make sure that in the ratio size of the headline to the headline is smaller. So you want to reduce the size of the subhead. Um, I think I said that correctly. But just to reinforce, the right now, this configuration right here, what I would do is I would go in here and I would reduce the size of this by a couple of points, maybe 2 or 3 points, and then take the whole thing and reduce the size of it, and then place it right about here so that that configuration is like right here. Okay. Then what we're going to do is, you see how these are called rags right here, and you want to even these out. So in other words, you don't want this big angle right here because it's forcing the text to be pushed to the left side, and it's encroaching on the couple here and creating this kind of ambiguous square right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this over, but you have to adjust your rags to, so what I would do is I would return here before package, then I would return again after ocean, or right before ocean, and just to try to kind of reshuffle some of these words onto the last line. Then move this over and try to align it with one of the letters in your subhead or headline, preferably the headline. So let's say it happens to line up with the A. Okay, so just come down here with the A, draw your text box out right there, and then accordingly, right? Everything else looks fantastic. My final recommendation is this. If we take a look at this, I think that right now, this is really advancing in the composition. And the reason is because it's pure white. So my recommendation, and this is a great tip, in order to allow the type to become more, to apply more synergy, to give a more harmonious relationship of type to image, come in here and sample one of the colors out of her dress. Okay, see how that's not pure white, that's an off-white or cream color. And that's going to draw a lot of harmony between the typography and the image. And I think it's not going to advance so much in the composition. I think it's going to be a much more harmonious composition as a result. Then my final recommendation would be to change this color, because we want to kind of draw some connection between the logo and the contact information. So maybe change this color to this teal right here. Try purple or try teal. I think teal might end up working a little bit better. And then, I got to tell you something. It looks like that logo is distorted. Let me do something here. I want to open something up. And yeah, that's what I need right there. So let's take a look at the logo. Okay, and you use the purple logo, so we'll look at the purple logo. Here it is, right? I think you used, no, you didn't. You did use this little, well, we could use this little version right here. Okay, so I'm going to pull that down, and what we want to do here is we want to take a look at this logo and compare it to this logo. Almost there, gosh. No, jeez. Come on now. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we can see, yeah, this is a little bit distorted. See how that is really much taller? That logo mark is taller, it seems, than that logo mark. This one seems a little less tall, a little shorter and a little wider. This one seems taller and more narrow. And that typically happens as a result from resizing. When you place the logo, if you do resize it, make sure you hold your shift key down when you drag that corner bounding box. We can also see a little bit of difference between, let me move that timeline. Gosh, how can I do this? Okay, look at these two logos. That one looks normal. See how tall that one looks compared to that one? Check them both, though. You want to make sure that there's no distortions in those logos at all. Okay, so that is those are my recommendations for the magazine ad. Let's jump over to the banner. And the banner ad, I think, is also, it's done very well. Your romantic rendezvous awaits only at Amethyst Bay. That looks good, but make sure to incorporate that same color change from her dress into that color of that type right there. And then let's talk about this a little bit. This is a little bit long for an animated type, and the reason being is that it's going to be really, really distracting to a viewer to try to read a long section of type that is animated. So my recommendation is just to really condense this. You don't even need to include the code there. The code that'll come in when the individual goes to book or they go to the website to get more information, right? So basically, what I would do is I would remove that code and I would just say free oceanfront suite upgrades. Or all-inclusive free upgrades or something like that. And then what you want to do is you want to, again, I think, well, actually, you know what? Again, let's reduce the size of the headline a little bit. This is a good relationship right here, but the headline itself, let's reduce the size of that a little bit so we can move this, again, away from them a little bit, all right? Right about there. Then take that same mark right there and then free, all-inclusive free upgrades right there. And then just animate that. Just like the animation is actually very, very nice. That's great. So do the exact same thing, just change the verbiage there. Okay, then finally, this right here, all of this information right here, you don't even really need to include all that information. I think just letting the viewer know that the resort resides in St. Thomas. So you could just say St. Thomas VI, and you could place that somewhere else away from the logo. Maybe even right here, St. Thomas VI. Or wherever you think. My idea is to get it away from the logo. You could even come down here and follow that margin that you set up and St. Thomas VI. Okay, and that's it. Those are my only recommendations, but great job. And let's go ahead and get those recommendations in place. I'm sorry, let's get those changes, address those recommendations for your final submission, which is coming up quickly here next week. Okay, any questions at all, please let me know. Great job. Thank you very much.